What is going on, everyone? My name is QB, also known as Damien. How is everyone doing? The last time I spoke to you guys, the NBA playoffs were just getting underway, and now all of round one is done, and I'm here to talk about it. As always, if you enjoy my content or you find ways for me to improve, let me know down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you guys are new, and yeah, let's get straight into it. Let's start off in the East, and can you believe it? The first seed got eliminated by the 8th seed play-in team, Miami Heat. A lot of teams were expecting not even this team to come out of the play-in, but they're going to come out of the play-in and beat the number 1 seed in the first round. That is crazy. Playoff Jimmy Butler is a real thing, by the way, if y'all casuals are wondering. Without Jimmy Butler going off as much as he did, the Miami Heat would have got absolutely stomped on, even with the Giannis injury. For you guys don't know, Giannis went down with an injury in the first half of Game 1 and he missed Games 2 and 3. He came back in Games 4 and 5, but unfortunately didn't look the same. The Bucks only win one game in these series and they would go down. They let their Heat pack them up in 5 games. That is embarrassing. If you're the top seed, you're expected to have good players around you. Besides from Giannis, you're expected to win that. Even without Giannis, those mans are still favourites. But hey, you can see something happen to the coaching staff this offseason. Whether that be a demotion of Mike Budenholzer and a hire of Nick Nurse. That's something all my boys bring up to me. Actually, it's not a bad idea whatsoever. Because that last game, Game 5, it was a complete strategy loss. There was times where they should have got a timeout. There was times where they should have changed defensive, setting or scheme. And Mike Budenholzer just failed to do so. And it very, very cost the Bucks costly in the end. We'll see what the front office does this offseason as well. I don't expect them to move anyone. Maybe a few role players, but none of the big stars. Drew, Middleton, and Giannis are obviously all there to stay, especially Giannis with that big old contract. It's a disappointment. Stuff like this happens. It's going to work their asses off in the offseason and come back harder than they ever have. Let's look at the next series in the East that went down. We have the Hawks and the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics are going to take that by 6 games. The Atlanta Hawks did really well to win 2 of these matchups. As you can see in that clip right there, that was the second game they won from the ice-cold 3-pointer from Trae Young. The Celtics should have really came out here and swept, because they gave time for the Philadelphia 76ers to rest. The second round started a few days ago as well. I'll get into that after I go through all the first round matchups first. It was a very solid series from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They both went out there and did their thing. The games that they didn't win was games that their role players weren't contributing as much as their star players, obviously. Trae Young had a really good series. He showed up in a lot of the games as well. Unfortunately, the Boston Celtics were just too strong for them. They're going to take that round in 6 games. And the next one in the East I have for you guys are the Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets. My personal opinion on this one is everyone was expecting a sweep. I know I said in my last video I expect the Brooklyn Nets to take game or 2, but it just wasn't happening. The 76ers came out and they weren't stuffing around whatsoever. They're still in the throat of this young Brooklyn Nets team. And don't get it twisted, this Nets team were above 500 after the trade deadline when they all got together. Obviously just pretty much zero experience. But obviously you have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson who had finals experience. Other than that, pretty much not that much whatsoever. Harden actually got injected in one of these games by setting his arm and hitting someone in the crotch. That was not a common thing, but it seemed to happen a lot in this first round. Dylan Brooks from the Memphis Grizzlies got ejected for doing it to LeBron. A crucial Game 3. But even then, there was no Harden, no Embiid. Embiid went down with that injury and they still got the job done in that game. So that was an easy sweep for them. Then we had the Knicks and the Cavs, and Cavaliers fans, you guys have to be very, very disappointed with your team. Everyone was expecting you guys to win this first round or at least take it to 6 or 7 games, but you guys got clapped in 5 games. I just don't think Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell and the field of younger guys are ready for clutch time. Even though Donovan Mitchell has plenty of playoff experience. It was pretty much their bigs that let the Cavs down. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen weren't being anywhere near as dominant as everyone knows they can be. They were very, very disappointing in this season. Or this round, should I say, my apologies. Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, all those blokes had a really good series as well. Mitchell Robinson grabbing some big boards when needed as well. Playing elite defense, playing both sides of the basketball, you love to see it. Cavs again, they just need experience. Obviously they were on the play-in last year, they didn't make the playoffs. It was Mobley and Garland's, Okoro, a lot of those guys' first playoff experience, so let's let that sink in and let it be a learning lesson for them coming into next year, or going into next year. Now let's move over to the West, and the first matchup I'm going to talk about is the Los Angeles Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. Very, very disappointed if you're a Clippers fan right now. Obviously, Paul George hyperextending that knee, being out for extended time, 100% guaranteed was going to miss the first round no matter what would have happened. And then Kawhi Leonard is going to get injured during the series as well. Russell Westbrook did bowl the hell out in my opinion. Had a nice 37-point game without going to the free throw line at all. Very, very efficient plus minus. If you're a Clippers fan, you just got to be, I guess you got to keep hanging in there. There's nothing much I can really say to you. You guys have had a great team. The injury luck has just been ridiculous for you guys, and honestly feel sorry for you. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to re-sign Russell Westbrook or not. That's going to be something for me to talk about in another video. But yeah, the Suns are literally just going to take him in 5 games. It was sad to see because it would have been a true battle if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard played all this series. Easily gone to a game 7. I couldn't have called it from there. Props to Russ and especially Norman Powell as well. He did his thing as well. Having career highs in some of these playoff games. He played absolutely amazing basketball. And then we're going to move over to the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. This was an easy gentleman's sweep for the Nuggets. It looked like to be a sweep, but in Game 4, the Minnesota Timberwolves came up clutch to send it back to Denver for Game 5. Nikola Jokic had multiple triple-doubles in this first round, should I say, sorry. Jamal Murray doing his thing as well. He's balling the hell out. This Nuggets team was a lot more dangerous than people expect them to be. They were the first seed in the West for a reason. Karl Anthony Towns, he fouled out 3 of the 5 games. That's just not good enough. He needs to learn how to play some defense. One thing I thought I'd see in this series was more of the big man attacking Nikola Jokic, but that didn't happen as much as I expected it to. Again, I feel like this is a coaching strategy loss for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but obviously the Denver Nuggets are the first seed. They're the 8th seed. That's exactly what should have happened in the West, but it didn't. And then we're going to move over to the Kings and Warriors. What a thriller series this was. This was one of the best first round matchups we had. First, I just want to say props to the Kings for taking the Golden State Warriors to 7 games. A very, very young roster. They broke the 16-year drought. They came up with light the beam. 3rd seed in the Western Conference. It was just a great year for the Sacramento Kings. Big fat props to them. Unfortunately, the likes of Stephen Curry in Game 7 dropping a 50 bomb, the first ever 50 bomb in a Game 7 ever, was too strong for the Sacramento Kings. A big part of me was thinking that Domantas Sabonis would have to have a great series for them to win this round. He had a terrible series. He wasn't efficient, he wasn't grabbing as much rebounds because of Kevon Looney. He was an absolute beast in this series. He played a way better series than what Sabonis did. Nights he was grabbing 15, 20 rebounds, he was going crazy. And obviously Steve Kerr had the coaching advantage when it came to the playoffs, well, because Mike Brown hasn't coached a playoff team or been involved an assistant as a playoff team in who knows how long. So Golden State are going to move on from after going 7 games with the Kings. Very, very good matchup. Kings fans, you should be proud of yourself. And especially proud of your team. And then we're going to move up to the last matchup in the first round on my list, sorry, should I say. Not the last one by data, but it was the last one on my list. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies, and this was a banging series. Anthony Davis had 26 blocks in 6 games. The defensive player of the year, Jared Jackson Jr., only had 12. Where was he at? Anthony Davis was causing havoc on both sides of the basketball, and that led the Lakers to have the upper hand in this series. Even in Game 6, the closeout, Anthony Davis only scored 16 points, LeBron James only had 22. And that's why they've been so good since the trade deadline, because they're going to have that third guy, D'Angelo Russell, that can just go off at any minute. He scored 31 points, and he was on fire from 3-point range. Rui Hachimura as well, playing his best games of his career in Games 1, 2, and 3. Would go back-to-back in the first 2 games, 20-plus point games. He had 29 the first game. That was the second most by a Laker ever in the playoffs to come off the bench and score that much. LeBron James having a LeBron James series as he does. He came up massive. He had a 20-20 game, and then just constantly putting up great numbers throughout the whole series. He shot really poorly from 3-point range. He only shot 16% from the 3-point range, but he was letting them fly, so one had to drop here once in a while, you know. But most definitely without Anthony Davis, the Lakers did not win this series. And an unsung hero, shout out to Jared Vanderbilt. In the Game 6, he put the clamps on Ja Morant. He's a power forward and he can guard any position. I wouldn't be surprised if Darvin Ham gives him the assignment of Stephen Curry, because that's who they're playing in the next round. And let's get straight into round 2. If you don't know the round 2 matchup so far, in the Eastern Conference we have the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. Miami Heat are currently winning that series 1-0 after another great performance from Jimmy Butler and Gabe Vincent. Knicks don't have Julius Randle. Hopefully he's back as soon as next game. He's out with that right ankle injury. I hate for him not to come back and ruin the Knicks' chances to make a conference final. Just crazy to think the Miami Heat or the New York Knicks are going to be in the conference final. That's just crazy in my eyes. Especially the Miami Heat, they had such a mid-year. They just emerged out of nowhere. In fact, it's not even the team. Full props go to Jimmy Buckets. Game 2 of that one's going to be today. And we also had in the Eastern Conference the 76ers and the Boston Celtics. And the 76ers without Joel Embiid are going to take game 1 thanks to an absolute masterpiece from James Harden, 45 points. It was looking like Houston Rockets James Harden. Just great to see. He still got that in his arsenal. He led the lead in the league in assists this year, the most underrated point guard by far all of this year. The way he's been playmaking is crazy, and he still proved today or last night for wherever you are in this world that he still got it with the shot creating and the floor facilitating. So that's going to be a very interesting series if James Harden can keep that up, especially when Joel Embiid comes back. 76ers will take that series in my opinion if both can keep up the amazing offense. I'm pretty sure Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will have something to say about that. Over to the Western Conference, we have the Denver Nuggets versus Phoenix Suns, and the Denver Nuggets are going to go up 2-0 after today. Nikola Jokic having another great game. He had 39 points, go along with 16 rebounds, and quite frankly, I reckon Denver are going to win that series because they have no answer for Jokic. The Suns do not have any answer for him whatsoever. Aiden cannot guard him, he's just not fast enough, he's not smart enough with his feet. Jokic is outplaying him all night long, it was crazy. And I said it before on my TikTok, by the way, if you don't follow me on TikTok, and if you want to have game updates every single day, I do commentary like this, but over the daily games, make sure you follow it, it's the exact same as my YouTube. But I said this on my TikTok, the bench production from the Suns has to be good in these playoffs for them to succeed. And it was not today. Only 4 bench points. That is ridiculous. That is filthy disgusting. For your bench to only have 4 points in a Western Conference semi-final game, playoff game. Are you serious? That's why you see the starters playing 40 plus minutes. Devin Booker had 44 minutes. They had 35 points. Kevin Durant is going to play 43 minutes and have 24 points. Their bench simply just has to be good. The combination of whether if they have an answer for Jokic and their bench comes in, if none of them goes their way, they're going to get swept, and that's going to be embarrassing. Especially for the Suns front office after everything they got rid of to get Kevin Durant. That series is going to shift back to Phoenix for game 3 and 4. The final matchup of this Western Conference semis. It's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors, and oh boy, as a basketball fan, as a Lakers fan, as a basketball lover, I cannot wait for this series. We're going to see LeBron James and Stephen Curry going back at it. It's truly going to be a masterclass series. I see this going to 7 games. 6 or 7 games the series is going to. It's not going to be over a 4 and 5. It's going to be an absolute war. The Lakers have been the best team in the NBA ever since the trade deadline, and they're trying to mark their stamp on this playoff hunt. Look very, very impressive round 1. I'm trying not to gas up my own team, but I'm just trying to see it as a basketball fan standpoint as well as a Lakers fan standpoint. If Anthony Davis can be dominant, the Lakers win this series in 6 or 7 games. That's literally it. AD has to come up big every single game. He has to score at least 25 points every single game and have at least 10 to 15 boards, go along with a couple of blocks. It's literally what his season averages are. If he can just do that at the bare minimum and have some massive games, the Lakers win this series. And I can easily see the way that the Golden State Warriors can win this series as well. Obviously Steve Kerr has the coaching hand up on Darvin Ham. He's a first-year coach. Steve Kerr, obviously 4 rings, which also means Stephen Curry and LeBron James are also fighting for a chance to go for their 5th ring as well. Obviously, if Stephen Curry is going to drop 50 or 40 every single game, it's literally wraps. Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins both had a really poor first round. I don't expect that at all in the second round. So it's going to be very, very interesting. That gets underway today as well, or tomorrow for Australia, or wherever you are in this world. Just look it up. For me, it starts 10 AM tomorrow morning, so it's going to be probably 7:30 for you Americans at night time, so that helps you, I guess. Anyway, this has been your boy QB. I just thought I'd go over the first round and my second round thoughts. And yeah, I'm going to be back with a lot more videos in between. I'm sorry for being slack. I know you guys have been liking my videos because the views have been through the roof for me. It's crazy compared to what I used to be doing. You just get like between 10 and 20 views a video. And now I'm putting my heart and soul into basketball, and you guys are really showing love, so I appreciate that. Anyways, as I just said, this has been your boy QB. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.